Welcome to Mind Body Monday, and in today's session you are going to learn why your stomach could get upset during traveling, 6 amazing tips to keep your gut happy and healthy at the best of times, especially when you are on the go. And the exciting part of this is you're going to get to discover the secret contents of my Happy Tummy Travel First Aid Kit. And it's not only for traveling, but it's a good thing to have some of these ingredients and contents in your home. At the end of today's Mind Body Monday, you get to ask some questions and hopefully get some answers at the end of the session. Remember, if you're on WhatsApp or on Facebook, then you are always welcome to join me on these chats. And in the Zoom chat, I've placed the link to the new 1440 Thrive WhatsApp group. So let's get started. For those of you who are new, welcome. My name is Avraham Gundle. I'm the founder and director for the Center for Integrated Medicine, and I'm trained as an osteopath and practice functional and integrated medicine. And over the last 30 years in practice, I've been privileged to have helped many people suffer from a whole host of chronic health conditions, be it gut issues, autoimmune issues, skin conditions, diabetes, etc., just to name a few. What prompted me to cover this topic about happy travel, happy tummy, or grumpy tummy, grumpy travel today, is because it's happened to me. I ate something whilst away on holiday, and I got an upset stomach, and it really could have ruined the holiday, not only for myself, my spouse, and kids, but because I always travel with my Happy Tummy Travel First Aid Kit, I was able to bounce back pretty quickly. And I'm going to share with you those contents at the end, towards the end of this session. Another motivation for me, aside from it being summer now and people are out and traveling around the globe, was that in the last week, I've literally got a dozen calls or so from desperate patients, either because they were or some of their family members were into their 2nd or 3rd day of diarrhea or stomach cramps or some sort of gut dysfunction. And they asked me, what can I do? So I didn't say, join me next week on Mind Body Monday because I'm going to be discussing this topic. But that was a motivation for me to cover this topic and share with you some of the things that I shared with them and do myself. So just before I jump into today's topic, I want to share with you some exciting news about my long-awaited Heal Your Gut program. So in the weekly Mind Body Monday sessions, you learn about mind, body, the connections, gut health, your health and well-being, your immune system, energy levels, mood, and so much more, and they will continue. However, the new Heal Your Gut program are for those of you who specifically want to take a deeper dive into gut health issues. It's an 8-week intensive journey, and we go into much detail about how to heal your gut for good. It's fun, interactive, and super practical, and you will learn my step-by-step approach to heal your gut from the inside out. So if you're ready to take this deeper dive into Heal Your Gut, just type in the chat gut health, and I'm going to come back to you. Or if you're just interested to learn more about it, I will give you some more information. Some of the things we're going to learn also about is how to manage flare-ups and obviously prevent them in the first place. You're going to be learning about how to calm your digestive system down, calm your mind, calm your emotions, relax your gut so you can begin to feel good for the long term. So this 8-week program, you'll be able to get results quicker, avoid all the mistakes, and get answers to your questions, course correct each week so you can see and feel the results as soon as possible. So go ahead, type gut health into the chat if this is for you, and I will get back to you. So coming back to our topic, traveling at any time can be nerve-wracking. Everybody has a different pace. Some people like to travel and leave plenty of time to transition between one thing and the next, while others like to live on the edge and leave things for last minute. I guess that's why there's a website called lastminute.com. This can be challenging if these different traveling styles show up in one family or travel party. What results is travel nerves, and this is a result of the vagus nerve being overstimulated, which could cause more trips, unplanned trips to the bathroom. And it's best to take your traveling style into consideration and plan accordingly, or communicate this to your group or family members how you like to travel. Everyone has their own style, and it's good to bear this in mind. Now, as exciting as traveling is, it can really put us into the unknown. I know this at first hand. I've actually spent about 18 months traveling around the globe in my quest to find healers and healing methodologies to help myself, my family, and my patients. And it's taken me from South America through the Amazon rainforests, all the way to Mexico, to Japan, the Far East, in a 1.5 year travel. So I'm well aware with dealing with uncertainty and immune and gut issues on the road. So with all these changes, some are planned and some are not, but we do leave behind, at least temporarily, normal sleep schedules, a regular diet, the water we used to, the pillow we used to, the mattress we used to, our familiar environment we leave behind. And strangely enough, all these changes affect our gut microbiome, which can lead to any number of gut symptoms, be it heartburn, diarrhea, constipation, gas, bloating, etc. Our gut microbiome is its own ecosystem, a biological community interacting organisms that live in total harmony with one another until they get disrupted. I like to think of the gut microbiome a little bit like a rainforest floor. It has a host, it hosts a vast amount of different living microorganisms, all living in coexistence with one another. However, when one species gets knocked out, everything gets knocked out of control. A bit like dominoes, when one goes, they all go, and there's a lot of reshuffling and reorganizing. A gut microbiome works exactly the same way. It's home to over 100 trillion microorganisms and hundreds of different bacterial species. So these microbes in our gut play a critical role in our digestion, in our immune health, in our metabolism, in our brain health, in our mood, and so much more. To me, it's essential to be the gatekeeper to this internal community because it plays such an important role in our health and well-being. So let's look at 6 tips to keep your gut healthy while you're on the go, and 6 tips in general to keep your gut healthy. So number 1, I still recommend traveling with a small bottle of hand sanitizer. It may have gone out of vogue now that things have settled down for the moment, but I travel with 10 or 15 or 20 ml little hand sanitizer or wipes in my pocket or in my backpack. So it cuts down on introducing foreign bacteria into the system, especially if I'm on the plane or in a waiting room or with kids and we're having a snack. That way I can just keep my hands clean and fresh. Number 2, use bottled water wherever you can, or boiling water. And this includes even the ice where you are. The CDC recommends boiling water for at least 1 minute to get it to a rolling boil, and then 1 minute when it's at the rolling boil, because it actually damages the structural wall of microorganisms, bacteria, and renders them quite harmless. So if you're traveling out in foreign places, you want to make sure ahead of time that the water is safe to drink, and you can always get bottled or boiled water. And the other thing is, I recommend generally not to drink tap water, even at home, because it's well chlorinated, and the chlorination destroys and disrupts the gut microbiome. So number 3, on the topic of water, stay hydrated. It's very common. It's probably the most common cause of constipation. It's best to sip through your water. Here's my trusty bottle. This is 32 ounces. It's a liter. And I've mentioned previously in Mind Body Mondays, the amount of water you need to drink for your body weight. Everyone's different. And I try to get through at least 2 to 3 of these a day, just sipping gradually through the day. You don't want to just drink big gulps and then not drink for a couple of hours. It's best just to sip through the day and get your water in that way. And the other trick I use is when I travel by plane, I actually use this bottle. I empty it out before we pass the security and all that, and I put it in my carry-on, because when I get onto the plane, at my first opportunity, I ask the steward if they would be kind enough to fill it up for me. I take the top off, I give it to them, or I go over to them and ask them politely if they wouldn't mind filling it up with their bottled water. I bring that to my seat, and that way I have a steady supply of water at my seat. Now, number 4 is minimize processed foods even while you're traveling. So you want to make sure wherever possible to have fresh fruits, vegetables, nuts, etc. They could be cut up and used as healthy snacks as well in the car with kids. So for every couple of bags of crisps and nosh and all that stuff, you can stick in 1 or 2 carrot sticks or cucumber sticks if you're lucky. But for yourself, at any rate, that's a great snack. So you're not drawn into the garbage snacks to excess with a family. That way you can also have some fun foods, and at the same time you can also be respectful for your own environment, internal environment and needs. The fresh foods are full of fiber and enzymes, and they help to regulate your bowels. So before we get to number 5, we're on Mind Body Monday. Let's all take a nice deep cleansing breath in. And as you breathe out, relax your shoulders, feel your back against the back of the chair. This is the audience participation section, folks. Let's take another nice deep breath in. And as you breathe out, relax your shoulders, relax your gut. This way you have more oxygenation going into your brain and calms and relaxes your vagus nerve and settles your gut. Let's continue to number 5. This is really my favorite topic, and I do give many workshops on mindful eating wherever possible. Now, for me, being on holiday really means taking time, slowing down to enjoy, to savor the moments. It could be a view, it could be literally smelling the roses or fragrant plants, spending quality family time, enjoying meals together. There's a lot of rush and busyness in my day-to-day life, even though I temper it with mindful moments. However, holiday time is really to cash in for me at having more mindful moments. So even though people may be rushing to get seconds or thirds at the barbecue or desserts, I can pace myself, paying attention to the colors, the fragrances, the tastes, the textures of whatever I'm eating, and paying attention not to stuff myself. And I'll share with you some of my ideas how to prevent that. Because research has shown that slowing down, chewing your food well, and eating mindfully activates important digestive enzymes that help our system digest well and absorb all the foods and nutrients we are eating. Besides, eating quickly or on the go can cause heartburn. Now, eating mindfully for me means that I remind myself that eating is actually a holy act, or it can be as mundane as any action done without thought. I'd like to share with you my favorite teaching on this topic. Rav Tzadok Kohen in his Kuntras Achila explains that eating is one of the main tikkunim, main rectifications that needs to occur in our lifetime. Meaning we need to work to eat in greater holiness. And he explains that eating is a metaphor. It's the experience of lack, and then as hunger, for example, and then the taking inside of ourselves of something from the outside world to fulfill that lack. In short, something that was not you becomes you. So eating food or material acquisition or hungering after relationships or honor seeking or addiction to power or to praise or to drugs or attention, Rav Tzadok Cohen explains, are all forms of eating. They start with an experience of lack or discomfort, and in an effort to fill that lack, one pulls something from the outside world into ourselves. So our literal eating is a microcosm of the way we take from the world. So for me, holiday time is, yes, about family time and fun time and connection time, but it's also about being mindful so I can appreciate everything even more. I mentioned to a friend the other day, and this is the difference between going on holiday or going on vacation. I'm just curious, can anybody type in the chat, what's the difference between going on holiday or going on vacation? I see some of you are shaking your heads. It's not just vacation is an American term and going on holiday is a European term, but the way I understand it is, yeah, someone's written depending which country of origin, possibly. The way I understand it is a vacation is where you literally vacate and leave everything behind. For me, a holiday is about turning every day into a holy day by infusing and connecting the mundane with holiness and godliness. And even though you're on holiday and it's fun, yes, this is all true. And at the same time, it's about taking those moments to bring more mindfulness, more holiness, more awareness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu into the very moments of what you're doing, if it's eating or trips or whatever it happens to be. That was point number 5, being mindful of eating and understanding eating from a slightly different, perhaps even deeper perspective. Number 6 really is a continuation, but a nuance. It's really eat until you are 70 to 75% full. Overeating stretches the stomach, and research has found that people who overeat are more likely to suffer from digestive issues, obesity, diabetes, and many other health concerns. I'd like to share with you 3 of my favorite tips to prevent overeating or to prevent stuffing yourself. The first one is really pay attention to that moment in the meal when you take a sigh, or you put your hand on your tummy or loosen your waistband. That is a good sign that you've reached the limit. My father-in-law, Alav Shalom, always used to say at the end of a meal that he's had an elegant sufficiency. He never left himself stuffed, but went to that 70 to 75% full place. And another trick to do this is really use the opposite hand to hold your fork. I'm a righty, so I would maybe use my left hand for the fork, my fork, or sometimes my right, but change hands with your fork. That way, that unusual shift in how you're handling your cutlery or your chopsticks will perhaps bring around more awareness, because you have broken the habit, broken the routine, and make you more aware and becoming more conscious of how you're eating, and then pay more attention to how much you are eating. Another quick tip is to really put your fork down between each mouthful, because while you have a fork or spoon waiting here and you're chewing your food, the brain is a little bit confused because there's something in the queue ready to go down the hatch, but there's something here waiting to be chewed. So this is not chewed well, and this is waiting to go in. So it adds to the rush. But if you just put a forkful or a spoonful in your mouth, put your cutlery down, breathe, savor it, enjoy it, there's less likelihood of you getting stuffed. Now, I want to share with you my latest invention, how to prevent feeling stuffed. Now, it's not out as an app yet, and it's totally Shabbos friendly. And I call this my fullometer. A fullometer is a little bit like a speedometer. See, a speedometer tells you how fast your car is going. But a fullometer tells you how full you are between 1 and 10. When you get to 7 or 7.5, that's the speed limit. That's the full limit. You're done. Anything more, you're overtaxing your system, and it could be actually positively harmful. So if you just have this little fullometer in your mind, how full you are from 1 to 10, you'll save yourself from being stuffed and all the downsides that come with that. I'm one of those travelers who travel with a small first aid kit, which I call my Happy Tummy Travel First Aid Kit. The first disclaimer I want to just say, especially when you're traveling with kids, always check with a doctor first, especially if there's a fever or diarrhea or things are out of control or there's a rash, things going on for more than a couple of days. Check with your GP, pediatrician, first aid specialist before you start really managing on your own. But these are some of the things I do when I travel. And number one, I take a probiotic every day, once or twice a day when I travel. During the week at home, I make my own sauerkraut or pickled vegetables or kombucha or some fermented foods. And if you've been following me on Mind Body Monday, you'll have those recipes and you'll know all about those. But if I'm away, it's a bit of a hassle. I just take a capsule a couple of times a day, and that takes care of my microbiome. That being said, when I do travel, especially if I'm traveling locally, going up north or down south, whatever, I'm staying in one place for a couple of days, it's perfectly okay just to bring a small amount of your own fermented or pickled vegetables, or even making your own in that environment, which is great. But again, it's a hassle, takes more time, and you may not want to do that. So therefore, a capsule is the best. So to offset nausea or car sicknesses, some people have found it very helpful to buy one of those wristbands. It's a wristband that you put on your wrist with a little button on that puts pressure on an acupuncture point on your acupressure point on the wrist, and it helps to keep nausea at bay for those and there are those who find it very, very helpful. Now, traveling, sometimes people can get constipated, not only because of lack of hydration, but just way there's so many changes, and the bowels get out of their natural peristaltic rhythm, and people find it helpful. I find it helpful for the family as well to have some magnesium tablets. There are many, many kinds of magnesium. Magnesium oxide is the one that's used mostly to help with peristalsis, with the movement of the gut, as it relaxes the colon. So that keeps a person regular. Then it's always a good idea to have some prebiotic fibers, or to, when you travel, like chia seeds or flax seeds, and you can always soak these overnight or bring them along ground and add them to your breakfast cereal or to fruit salads or in your soups. This way, you're bringing some prebiotic fibers which help your microbiome along with you, which will ensure that your inner colony gets all the pre- and postbiotic fibers that they need to flourish. Now, what I found helpful when I'd eaten something that didn't agree with me, I took some activated charcoal tablets. So this is one of the things also in my first aid Happy Tummy travel kit is activated charcoal. You can get it from any pharmacy. This absorbs irritating substances in the stomach contents, and it's very, very effective. It has an extremely large surface area, and that pulls in toxins or irritants into the activated charcoal. Just a warning though, if a person is on standard medication, this activated charcoal needs to be taken at least 2 hours away from standard medication, because it could render that medication less effective, because it will absorb some of that into itself. The other great thing to have in that travel kit is pure essential oil of peppermint, either to smell it to avoid or soften any nausea. But if it's a high quality peppermint oil that's made specifically for internal use, as not all are, 1 or 2 drops taken in some water can really calm the belly down and alleviate gas or nausea or discomfort in the gut. The other thing that goes into my first aid kit is enzymes. I always struggle with enzymes. It's part of my daily routine anyway, but this helps me ensure that whatever I'm eating that's strange or different gets fully broken down in my digestive system. And this way also helps alleviate pressure or tension in the gut. And some of my kids also take the enzymes if they've overdone it at a barbecue or just not feeling, the gut's just not feeling great. They'll know, they'll just reach for that, and that's very settling. At the same time, then there's anti-acid tablets. I'm a big fan of more natural alkalizing powders. It's unmedicated, it's got no aluminum in it. And if there's any heartburn or gastric discomfort, then taking a alkalizing powder is extremely helpful. So what I did for myself is I started off with the charcoal tablets. I took some probiotics and some peppermint oil. I waited a couple of hours and I took some of the alkalizing powders, and a few hours later I was back to myself as well. Now this could be a cultural thing, but we take a hot water bottle with us wherever we go. Kids love it. If their tummy is unsettled, just putting a hot water bottle on the belly is very soothing. It draws more blood into the gut and helps it to calm down and settle down. And lastly, if a person is not feeling well, don't eat, just skip the meal, just drink more water or herbal teas. And my favorite herbal teas for traveling is chamomile, fennel, and peppermint teas. You can buy the sachets. That way you're not dependent on a hotel that only provide a very limited range of teas, or if you're out roughing a little bit more, or an Airbnb, whatever they happen, or on bookings.com, whatever it happens to be, you are able to have your own herbal teas, which are really soothing for the gut. So these are the secret contents to my Happy Gut Travel First Aid Kit. I hope you found that helpful. So if you missed the exciting news at the beginning of today's Mind Body Monday, I mentioned the launch of my Heal Your Gut program. It's designed for those who really want to take a deeper dive into getting their gut issues sorted. You'll be able to learn and apply my step-by-step approach to heal your gut from the inside out. And if you haven't already, just type in the chat gut health, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks once again, everybody, for joining me on Mind Body Monday, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Just remember, Mind Body Monday is where self-care is the heart of healthcare. All you need to do is take one small step in the direction of health and healing in mind, body, and soul. See you next week.